Well, hello, hello. This is Rosa, rcgkreations. How are you doing? Gonna bring to you, I got an overabundance of kale for my garden, which is more than I can use. So first I'm gonna rinse it off, get all the bugs and the dirt off. There actually were no bugs, thank goodness. And I'm glad I used my mesh bags on my grow bags. Anyway, so my mesh cloth, excuse me. So I'm gonna rinse everything off. Gonna let it sit here for a little bit. I'm on my lunch break, so I don't have enough time to do this. Then I'm going to come back. Then I'm going to towel dry, get another towel, tap it on there, towel dry it, just to get most of the extra moisture off. Then I'm going to put it on my dehydrator trays. And in about 2 to 4 hours, this is going to be totally dry. I will be cutting off the stems, but not until I get to the dehydrating part. And then dehydrate it. And then I'm going to turn this into kale powder that I can add to my regular food when I'm cooking or making something, like put it in your brownies, put it in your smoothies, put it in your yogurt, put it in meatloaf, put it in anything that you want extra nutrients, because kale has a lot of nutrients. So what I've done here is let me go back here, let me show you. I'm in my sink, I got a big bowl, but there's a bunch of dirt in there. So, and I'll show you that in a minute. So I'm just going to put this over here. I'm just laying it off nice and flat. I harvested this yesterday. I should have done this yesterday, but I ran out of time. Part of life. Okay. And you do it how you want to do it. If you got one of those salad spinners, put it in your salad spinner. I have one. I just don't want to dig it out because there's not enough here to do all that with. You could put all this in your sink, but hubby has a little phobia about dirty sinks. No matter how clean you clean them, they're not clean enough and you're messing with food. So to keep happy life, I just do what he asked me to do. So I just use a bowl. That's just me. I have no problem. And washing my sink out with soap, a dishcloth, a brusher. I have my little brusher here. That's my little vegetable brush, but that's my extra one. I have my regular vegetable brush over here for regular, like potatoes and carrots and stuff like that. But let me show you right quick. Bear with me, I gotta hold my camera. My tripod's still broken. See that dirt in there? And that's what you want to get out before you put all this in the dehydrator. You see the dirt? See a bunch of the dirt particles? I don't use insecticides or pesticides. I don't use any chemicals in my garden. Now I do have this, what you call it? I'll put a pop-up of it. But anyway, it's a powdery thing that you put around the soil and around the ground to keep bugs and ants away. That's the only thing that I've used that's a chemical process, but it doesn't ever get on the plant itself. And so for me, since these grow in a grow bag with a mesh bag over the grow bag, bugs don't get in there, so I'm good to go. So let me bring you back to the next phase, okay? We're going to put it on the dehydrator. Okay, we are back. Let's dehydrate these veggies. Kale. And I personally like, because I have 15 trays on my dehydrator, I'm just going to pinch this extra stem. Forgot to do that on these. Only because I don't want to go up and go get some scissors, but it doesn't really matter. But when you're dehydrating it, once they dry, they're really hard. And it takes a lot of extra muscle, which I don't have. And I don't want to do any overlapping. You can if you want to. It's just going to take it longer to dry. So the more you don't overdry. So if you have enough trays, don't overdry. Don't overlayer. But you can layer. It also depends on what size trays that you have. I've got two different kind. One that's got the regular kind that came with the thing, which is probably like maybe like half of an inch high. And then in a minute I'll show you the other ones. I'll have to add my mesh rolls, because this is this batch here is Kale, and I store my mesh with my trays. That's just me. You do it how you want to do it. Remember, this is your house, your kitchen. And you can, if you want to, take off the leaves and all that, but I find it, after many years of doing this, that it's easier for me to do it once it's dry, because then once it's dry, I just pull it against the stem and the leaves just come off the stem. So for me, that's just a lot easier. But, you know, with practice, you'll know what you're doing and which one's best for you, depending on which machine that you have. See, this one didn't even have a little stem. I had a tiny one. So I didn't have to take nothing off of that one. And that one's got a little one. Let me take that one off of there. And I just noticed there's another one right here. Okay, I'm going to continue doing this. I'm not going to have you watch me do the whole thing. Then I'm going to put them on the dehydrator. I'm going to put it on, I think it's 115. I'm going to put it on, I'm going to put it on 100. Because when it comes to herbs and stuff like this, you want to keep this nutrients. The lower the heat, because depending on your dehydrator, heat is what, well, most dehydrators, this is how they work. The heat and the hot air is what dehydrates it. Okay, but when that happens, it loses some of its nutrients. So the lower the heat, it's going to take longer to dry, but you get to keep more nutrient. And that's the whole reason I'll be doing this, is to keep all the as much nutrient as possible in my kale and my green onions. Okay, so we'll bring you back when they're totally done. Well, okay, we are back with the other, I don't know what phase we're in on the dehydrating part. Okay. Hubby got me magic bullet. Never used it before, but we'll see how it works. I wanted to show you, depending on what kind of trays or dehydrator you have, you see how that's got a taller lip. So that means you could put things fuller up, because you could put things all the way up level up to here. Where this one, see how much more shorter it is? You see that? You see the two? And I wanted to show you the center part is the difference. But they still stack right on top of each other, not a problem. Either that way, it didn't matter. Top or bottom, doesn't make a bit of difference. Okay? But it helps you, the height here helps you add more things and not get crushed from the lower lid. The upper lid. Okay, so let's get to powdering, and whoops, see that? You want to make sure when you dehydrate anything, everything is totally dry. If a little piece of it is like right here, this center part right here is moist, but this is dry, peel that part off. And I'm putting it in my mug here, no, bullet mug, because this part's already dry. But there's another one that's dry. This part's not. It's going to go back in the dehydrator, and it's going to dehydrate some more. Same thing with that one. Now you could also, if you wanted to, crumble all this up and dehydrate it, and then put it on your jelly jars, and then dehydrate it again. But to me, that's too much work. I'm not doing that. Oh, that's a piece of my onion. If you hear the dehydrator, that's what it is. The dehydrator is going. Okay. That's another one. Well, how come that first one got all dry, but these other ones did not? Again, you just never know. Oops. Well, that one's dry. Okay, here it is. Just taking off the dry part, because when you over dry, you're losing more and more nutrients. So you don't want to over dry. So do definitely keep an eye out. Oh, that's dry. Keep an eye out on how long your dehydrating is, and it goes by the item, the food product, or you can do flowers. You can dehydrate flowers. It depends on that of how long. And look, read your owner's manual. If you don't have one, Google it. There's all the manuals. More than likely will be on Google or whatever web page you're using. And I'm just crumbling the parts that's dry. The parts that's not dry are just going to go back into the dehydrator. And then after this, I'm going to bed because I'm pooped. So let's go ahead and put this back over here. Well, that's hardly dry. Well, that one is. Some of these leaves are just thicker than others. That's just part of Mother Nature. Don't worry about it. But I had it at 110 for like 5 hours. It was kind of humid today. That's another thing. If your weather is humid, it's going to take you longer to dehydrate. Okay. I'm just feeling to see which ones are falling apart and which ones are not. But it looks like I need to put all of these back in the dehydrator. Okay. But at least I have enough to start, and I can still show you for the video. And because basically this is just an easy way, and this is a good way for the little ones who don't want to eat their greens. You put it in, like I said, smoothies, shakes, cereal. Put it in your meatloaf when you're making up your meatloaf. Put a couple tablespoons in there. Put it in anything that you want, but remember, it's green, so it will turn whatever it is that you put it in green. Now, if you're doing a fruit smoothie like blueberries, it won't really hurt that much at all on that one. I'll move on to individual trays later. Right now, I just want to get this off of here. Actually, I'm going to get a full thing. So, I'm just showing you one way of doing it. When you get used to your machine, you'll know what you can and can't do with it. Well, that's almost totally dry, but the center part did not get dry. Again, that's what I'm saying, the stem, where the stem is at, because it's a lot thicker, it takes longer. That's why feel free to go ahead and cut the stem off, okay, before you put it on the dehydrator, because the stem does take longer, which means you're using more electricity. But I think the dehydrator, if it ran for 2 days, it would use like maybe $10 worth of electricity. To me, that's not worth much for me, because what I'm doing is I'm adding nutrition into my husband and I's bodies without having to taste it. Because hubby don't like kale at all. I like kale. I eat kale in my salad. And I'll eat kale in cooked food. I'll cook with kale. So I like kale. He don't care for it at all. But this is one way to get your nutrients. Or you have a picky eater in your home, regardless of their age, and they get their nutrients, and they don't even know what they're eating, unless you tell them. Hubby knows. I'll make something, if it looks a little bit different, he'll say, "What you put in here?" And I go, "Oh, we just got a little bit of kale powder. I put some greens in there. I'll get a bunch of different greens. Now that I have a garden, I can just go in there and plant my own greens and have my own greens instead of having to go to the store and buy them." Okay, we've only got 2 more trays and we're done. And all these are going to go back in the dehydrator. And I'll finish dehydrating tonight. This should be ready by the morning. So I'll just set my alarm to get up a little bit early. Double check them. This is a little bit of a messy job because everything splatters everywhere. But it's just, it's dry, so it's not going to hurt nothing. It's not messy. You're not getting totally dirty or nothing. Ooh, that one's really moist. Yeah, if you can, try to pick a day when you dehydrate when the outside weather is not very humid. It'll go a lot faster for you if you wait for it when it's not so humid. Look at that. All those leaves, and only the very first one that I picked up was dry. All the other ones are moist on the center. Oh, yep, that one. That was a little one. I thought that'd be dry, but nope, it's moist right in the dead center. And I'm not going to waste that because that's good nutrition right there. And you know, you took the time to either buy it at the grocery store or you took the time to make it, grow it. Take your time preserving it and getting it, preparing it for you to enjoy and get some nutrition out of it. So a lot of this stuff is, you got to have patience. And, well, that one's practically dry, but the center of it's still a little on the moist side. So I'm going to put that back in the dehydrator. Oh, that's another one. And these leaves are a little bit yellow, a little bit green. I'm okay with that because it's still nutrition. I'm not going to waste it. But I have enough here probably to fill another one of these little containers full, which would be half my quart jar, I think. No, that's probably going to be 1/4 of my quart jar. Because once it goes into a powder, no. That one's totally dry. Little baby one. So I got 2 leaves. Woohoo! 2 leaves that are totally dry. Yay! Out of 1, 2, 3, 5 trays. You know, but it is what it is. Go with it, and that's okay. I'm good to go. That one, only the very tips got dry on that baby. Okay. And also to double check your dehydrator, because sometimes, especially if you have a dehydrator that's been going on for a while, like mine is probably, this one here is probably a good 10, 14 years old. It may be time that it's just not the heating element's not going to heat as much. If you have a way to test it, you can test it versus having to pitch it and go buy another one. And of course, you can always dehydrate in the oven. And if it's hot where you're at with a bunch of sun, you can lay it out on some mesh, and cover it so the bugs don't get it, and the squirrels and other little critters don't get it. And you can dehydrate all this outside with Mother Nature. Now I know I've seen them on Google, and I've seen them on I think it's Amazon. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Amazon or eBay. I forget which. I think it's Amazon. But they sell those. I think it's got like 6 or 7 trays. It's all it is a mesh with PVC piping around it. You put the trays inside with your food, and you hang it outside, either on a tree or make a pole. And see like that one's all yellow? I'm still going to save it. That one's all dry. See that? See how that crumbled up? It's all dry. That's what I'm saying, you just never know. But anyway, and then you can have your own natural. Now, of course, that would take like 4 or 5 days for it to dry when it's outside. The electric one takes typically anywhere from 2 to 24 hours to dry. And again, it depends on your temperature, and it depends on your machine also. So you just got to keep that in mind. Nope, still got a lot of moisture there in the center. Okay, last but so I got 2 leaves that were totally dry. The rest of them centers are there, but I'm just gonna put them back on pop them back on the dehydrator. Nope, all that's there. And I'm not gonna worry about it. It doesn't matter if I use 1 tray or if I use all 15 of my trays. It's not going to make a bit of difference. The same amount of electricity is being used. So to me, leaving it spaced out like that and using all the trays, it's no big deal to me. In fact, it's probably going to dry faster because it's spaced out more. Now let me get this. Make sure you have a clean table when you're doing something like this, because you don't want to be working with a dirty table. Okay. Let's close her up and let's turn her on. Okay. Doesn't seem to have a connection, so I guess I can go anywhere I want to. Okay, there is a little bruise. Woo! Okay, so you just push down. That's how it works. Now, of course, take it out and move it around because I did fill it up pretty full. You can see me. There we go. See how it's all flowing in there now? Now, whenever you do anything with powder, let it rest, because there's a lot of smoke from all the drying out process. And very, very slowly open it up, because powder. Now, when you're doing this with peppers, like hot peppers, spicy peppers, woo, wear your face mask and wear your goggles, because that powder will burn you. It'll go in your lungs once you inhale it, or your nose. There's a little piece of leaf that come loose. Okay, I don't have nothing on myself. Nope, I'm good to go. So, okay. You do have to put a little pressure, arm pressure, muscle, which is something I don't have. And continue to do this until you get the powder consistency that you want. I want it to be a very, 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 very fine powder. But again, I've never used this before, so I don't know if this is going to be good. It doesn't get as fine as I want it. I'm going to move everything over to my coffee bean grinder, my Mr. Coffee bean grinder, and I'm going to grind it in there. But it's got a small little cup, and it'll take me twice as long to do it versus this machine. But look at that. That full cup, and look what we got. Right there. But you don't need very much, like 1/4 of a tablespoon. 1/4 of a teaspoon is all you would need. Now, of course, you can add more. I'm not going to waste my quart jar on this little bitty thing. I'm going to go get myself a little mini jar. So anyway, this is my take on grinding your own kale after you've dehydrated, so you have a lot of nutrition for future use and to enrichen your body. Thanks so much for watching. We'll catch you in the next video. Take care. Bye-bye. Y'all have a good one. Bye-bye.